So you've hired your first employee or you're about to hire your first employees in your home service or contracting business. And you're probably wanting to know, how do I get the most out of them without them leaving in 3 months and I have to retrain someone all over and over and over again? So in this video, I'm gonna show you exactly how I hire my employees, how I communicate with them, how I monitor them, and then also how I make sure that the employees actually feel like they're working for an organization that's more than just a paycheck and actually end up being better than I was at doing the job I just outsourced to them because they're able to dedicate 40 hours a week to it. So let's get started. So before I get into number one, my name is Steve Hunsaker. I'm the owner currently of 2 separate home service brands. I'm not really involved in the day-to-day anymore. I just manage managers in those things and do our marketing, obviously. And then I also am the founder of the Home Service Accelerator, which at the time of filming this video, we've had over 500 separate home service and contracting businesses come through the Accelerator and create their own Facebook and Instagram ads themselves without an agency, dominate their local maps SEO on Google, build a ton of different automations and systems in their business, and help them get to the next step. So I've seen a lot of businesses, I've worked with a lot of businesses, and I have 2 pretty large businesses myself in the home service space. So let's start with number one. When you have an employee, like, I'm not gonna go super into the weeds on like, oh, you should go on Indeed, you should do all this. There's other videos about that, but I will say this. When you hire someone and you're wanting to fill a position, it is no different than marketing. Interviewing, hiring, getting applications is just like marketing. It is all about volume, volume, volume. You don't interview one person and be like, oh, that's the winner, let me hire him. You get enough candidates just like you do enough marketing and scale enough marketing to make your results inevitable. So now that we've got that out of the way, the first thing that you want to really hammer home into your own brain as an owner is the perception of guardrails to the employee are sometimes more effective than the guardrails themselves. And so what I mean by this is, if you've just hired an employee or you've just hired a leadership position, the most important thing that you need hammered through your head, and this is the thing I did so poorly in the beginning, is that employee needs to perceive that they're walking into an established business with systems, processes, and everything else dialed in. You as the owner know that your phone's ringing off the hook. You're getting a complaint from a customer over here. You're getting a complaint from an employee over here. This guy just no call, no showed. Everything feels like the sky is falling. Your insurance company just charged you 30% on your next year's premium and you just want to kill them. Now, that's you as the owner. That's what you go through as the owner. That is the trade-off that we give as owners for the freedom and the unlimited upside of running a business. You do not communicate that to your employees. That is your responsibility as an owner to deal with. Your employees need to come into an environment where everything feels like there are guardrails and systems and processes in place for them to do their job properly. But most importantly, that the guardrails that you set up, and what I mean by guardrails is like when you make standard operating procedures or SOPs, like the employees need to feel like those are determined and set up so that they can perceive that if they do not do this thing properly, the way you tell them to do it, there will be consequences. And so the easiest example for me to just share with you really quick, I have a lighting business. We have 4 trucks on the road all day long in our peak season. So 4 different crew leads, a director of operations that oversees all of them. And so one of the things that they have to do is make sure that all of the product is in the trucks every single day before they go out to do the job. Because the thing that kills our profitability and gets a bunch of employees overtime is when the guys drive 25, 30 minutes from the warehouse to a job and they forget something. And so what do we have? We have a standard operating procedure, an SOP, for loading the vehicle before the day. And when that SOP is determined by a checklist that we made for them, and then that individual shift lead goes through that checklist every day and marks that, yes, I put this in the truck. Yes, I put this in the truck. Yes, I put this in the truck. And then the most important part is not the checklist. The most important part is the employee thinking that that checklist is actually being audited and monitored. Because the employee knows that if they put their initial next to that thing, that they're doing it, and then they get out to a job, we're like, oh shit, I need to go back to the warehouse, drive 30 minutes back. Well, we've got 3 guys on payroll making $20 an hour plus. Like, that's gonna kill us. And so when that employee knows, like, oh, I'm gonna get in trouble if I don't do this, the perception of the guardrail is sometimes more important than the guardrail itself. And so if you build it, they will come. And when the employee comes into something where they actually feel like there's an operation, even though in your mind as an owner, you're just running around like a chicken with your head cut off, The employee needs to perceive that there is law and order in the organization, and then they will fall in line with that. Your employees will push as far as you let them as an owner. And so the guardrails and the SOPs are everything. They're the responsibilities of the job. It's communicating exactly what is expected of that employee during the interview process so there's no surprises when they start. And it's probably auditing and spending a lot more time with that new employee in the beginning than you think you need to make sure that they're dialed in. This is one of the harder things mentally for a new owner. And like a new owner, meaning like they're just now starting to hire managers, they're just now starting to hire employees, they're getting themselves out of the truck because like your business is probably kind of a manual shit show right now. It just is. Like if you're just hiring your first employee, you don't have systems like the greatest home service business owners in the world yet. But you get better every month and you build the guardrails and the SOPs, and then you get good talent in there and they do a better job than you because this is their only thing they're dedicated to doing. So even if you're better at it at 20 hours a week, but this employee is getting 40 hours a week to do it, you can build a lot more strict guidelines and expectations for them because it's all they do. You're running around doing sales, you're running around doing marketing, you're putting out this fire, you're doing this for HR, you're doing this for whatever else. Even if you're better than them at the task that you're hiring them for, they will end up being better for the company doing it if you set it up properly for them because they have more time and effort dedicated to it. So let's go to number 2. Teach, standardize, repeat, and then audit. So this is similar to what I was talking about in number 1. But every single thing that these employees do and the expectation of like, what determines when I, as the owner, am out at a job and it goes completely according to the book, perfection. All of those things need to be taught. They need to be standardized in your business with SOPs, checklists, all these other things, standard operating procedures, and then repeated over time. But then the part that most people miss is they make standard operating procedures, but then they never actually audit that those are being done. And so the employees, after about a week, stop caring about the standard operating procedures you built, and they start like, oh yeah, it's in the truck, check. Oh yeah, I did that for the customer, check. And they don't care about them because they know no one's monitoring it and watching it. And so if you go back and you look at, I have an interview on this channel with Cameron Bodden, and he talks about like one of the biggest operational changes that him and his partner, Evan Ritchie at Coconut Cleaning made was they had all of these SOPs, but they were sitting together in a leadership meeting and they're like, dude, I've been telling these techs to do this for 3 or 4 years and getting mad at them for not doing it every single month. And they're like, why do we even have the standard operating procedure if it never works? This was something about like one of his pest control guys, like upselling a certain product or something like that. And like some of his staff was doing it really well and some of them weren't. And they were getting mad at the people that weren't. But then they came back and they're like, dude, like this is just a failure of the business because we're not auditing it properly and letting the employees know like, hey, if you don't do this, there will be consequences. This is part of the job description. And so what they did is they set up a position to actually audit that SOP, and then the employees pretty soon started being like, oh damn, if I don't do this, I'm gonna get in trouble. And then they start doing it. And so it's not about like ruling with an iron fist, it's going back to like the guardrails. And so you teach the employee how to do the job, you standardize every single aspect of the job, and then you repeat that over and over again at every single job. And so that the 5-star experience that you're trying to build as a business is always there, regardless of who's in the truck, regardless of what the scope of the individual job you're doing is that day. You standardize everything. And so for example, in my business, when my guys get on site, there's a standard operating procedure list of like 10 to 15 things ranging from like, did you walk the customer through the install? Did you go through every single thing on the quote and make sure that it's fantastic? Did you ask the customer what colors? And did you determine twice that these are the colors that they wanted and approved? Did you put the A-frame out? Did you tell the customer about the gift card program? Did you do this? Did you take pictures of where the timers are? Did you like, just all of those are standard operating procedures, but if you don't standardize it, and actually put it in a checklist style where the manager actually has to be held accountable for it being done, they're going to start rushing and cutting corners and they're not going to do it every time. And so then what happens? Your result of the job you're being paid to do as a company is inconsistent. And that's not where you want to be. And if it's inconsistent when you're small, just buckle up for when you're scaling up and you're doing a lot more work because that's when it gets really bad. So let's move on to number 3. As far as managing employees, if you are not constantly asking yourself, is this a good shake for the employee? Start doing that. You are hiring people. And when you are hiring people, especially full-time employees, They are hitching their family's livelihood, their personal livelihood, to the wagon that you have created as an owner. And so what you have to understand is if you're going to have people work for you, you need to constantly ask yourself, is this a good shake for the employee? Is this a good position for them? Am I compensating it correctly? Am I giving them a clear trajectory of how they can make more money? Have I talked to them about like what goals they have, what things that they have that make them tick? What do they need for their family? Do they need a raise? If they do need a raise, how do we determine it to get there? Am I building in performance pay or things like that? Am I communicating to the employee that like, hey, right now in this stage of the business, I am giving you every cent that I can without being reckless and gambling with the business bank account. Now, if you stick with me, here is the roadmap for how we're going to get to more. I've had that conversation with employees, and employees have stuck with me and got raises. Most of my employees make a lot more in year 2 or year 3 than they do in year 1 because I communicate to them that the performance of the business, the profitability of this business is going to give me a bigger egg to therefore pay you more. But in return for this transaction, I need more out of you. I need performance out of you. And if I get performance out of you, that means that this end goal is going to be accomplished better. And when that end goal gets accomplished better, I can give you more money. And it's as simple as that. It's just a transaction, but it doesn't have to be like a heartless transaction. It can be a genuine conversation with people that actually tells them, this is what I know you want. This is what I need as a business. And honestly, the truth of the matter is if you're an owner and you're like in the middle of growing this business, if you start being flashy, you start driving fancy cars, and you start blowing the profit, your employees are going to subconsciously be like, all right, F this guy. And the biggest thing for me in the last 2 years when my business has really exploded is I think that you can genuinely ask every single one of my leadership positions if they think that I like my lifestyle is in line with where the business is. Most of them would say yes. And most of them would say also that like they feel like they hitched their wagon to the right business. But again, just like customers determine whether you're worth it, so do your employees. Your employees will leave you if you are not creating an environment that isn't letting them accomplish their goals or have them bought into the big picture. They will tell you by leaving you. And they will also tell you if you're doing a good job by staying. And so that leads me to number 4. And I think number 4 is important. I rarely do this, but I think number 4 is important because why should you listen to me? Right? Like it's easy for me on a YouTube channel to just say all these things. Why should you listen to me? I'll give you the inner workings of both of my businesses. Home Service Accelerator has 8 employees. Of those 8 employees, we have 2 people that do a little bit of sales. We have fulfillment. We have video editor. Shout out to Jake right behind me. Videographer, head of creative, all that. We have Natalie, who kind of runs the ops on the background. We have me. We have a tech guy, and then we have another editor. 8 employees, and then we have some contractors, whatever else. Of those 8 employees, every single one of them but one has worked for the business for over a year. And in that world, kind of rare in the positions we're in. In my world, it's kind of rare. But if you ask those employees know that every single weekly meeting, we talk about like what the North Star is, like what we're working towards, what last month's sales were like, what this week's sales were like. Are we getting to this goal? And if we get to this goal, I communicate to them, this is what I'm doing as an owner to get this bigger. And so if you take, for example, today, we had a group call today. One of the things I told them today is like, hey, I just signed up for this really aggressive email marketing thing that costs $2,000 a month. Could I profit and pocket that $2,000 a month and go buy something fancy? Absolutely. That's $24,000 a year as an owner. That's quite a big jump for me in income. But what I'm communicating to my employees is like, I am trying to build this wagon big enough so that all of you can consistently make more money and we can get better at what we're doing and get this thing on to the next level. Take Valley Christmas, it's the same thing. Valley Christmas started with just me 5.5 years ago. Valley Christmas now has close to 30-something employees. We have leadership positions in every single aspect of the business. We have a director of operations. He oversees all of the shift leads and managers and all of the installers below him. And then that's Jack. Jack is also my co-owner of the permanent lighting brand that we just spun off this year. Jack was my first employee ever. Jack hitched his wagon to me when no one was making money and I was almost bankrupt. Jack now is a 50-50 partner with me in a new business fresh out of college because he put in the work. Jack has also been compensated properly and has been with me for I think 4 years now. Like that doesn't just happen. And I'm not trying to say that to flex. I'm trying to say that that's just the reality of it. Jack was very qualified. Jack had a college degree. Jack could go work anywhere when he was done with college, but he knew what the vision was, and he knew that his dreams for his life and him and his wife's life, The best chance of him getting that was hitching his wagon to the thing that I built and having him come in, because now we're partners in a certain entity and his income keeps going up. And so it's the same thing with everyone else. Kyle, my head of sales for Valley Christmas, this is his 4th year with us, 3rd year, I can't even remember anymore. Like, that's a lot of time spent in the same business. Natalie's been with me for over a year. Like, all of our other like main employees that we need, we retain. And that's not because I just say some foo-foo rah-rah stuff. It's because I tell the employees with my actions that this is where the business is going and this is where you file in. And they listen because the actions speak a lot louder than the words. And the last thing I want to hit on, and I think this is an absolutely amazing thing for you to hit on as an owner, explain the vision, explain where the business is going, and keep explaining it. Keep reminding them, keep talking about it, keep hammering it into your employees, because no one's going to care about your business as much as you do. But if you care a shit ton about your business, even your employees caring half as much as you do about it means that they're probably going to be a pretty damn good employee. And I went to the Home Service Freedom Conference that Tommy Mello puts on in Vegas a few months ago. And he had a quote that like truly changed the way I look at all of my businesses. And it has stuck with me since then. And I borderline want you guys to get it tattooed on you. It's so impactful. His quote was, "My dream as the founder needs to be big enough that all of my employees' dreams can fit under it." Like, I want that to hit home. Your dream as the founder, CEO, owner, whatever you want to call yourself, needs to be so big that all of your managers, your directors, your employees' dreams can fit under it. And I think that that is the closest thing that can motivate you to build something big. Like, something about that just clicked with me. Like, my businesses have grown substantially in the last 2 years. And even still, like, there's some times where if I'm honest, in my brain, I go like, this is where I dreamed the business would be 2, 3 years ago. And now I'm there. And sometimes every once in a while, this little thing creeps in like, hey, you could take a lot of profit here. Like, you could probably be pretty good. And I fight that because like my basic needs financially got met about 2 years ago. Like I don't have to worry about where the rent is being paid. I don't have to worry about anything like that. Like my goal now and what motivates me now is building these things as big as possible and growing month over month and year over year, because as they grow, everything else grows with it. My employees' income grows with it. Our team grows with it. The amount of impact we have in the marketplace grows with it, whether that's the actual in-person businesses or Home Service Accelerator or both. And so the beauty of it is the bigger my dreams got, the bigger the business got. And the bigger the business got, the more our employees wanted to work for it. Because when there's a lot more money circulating in the business, guess who gets paid more? All of the employees. And it's a beautiful thing. But you don't just pay them more on base salary, and this is something that I've really dialed in lately. The vision needs to be accomplished by performance pay. And so, for example, as I've started giving raises to employees, I want the employees excited to perform. I don't want the employees excited to show up for work only. I want them excited to show up to work and perform. And so you can take anything from like, for example, we gave a raise to an employee where half of it came in the form of a base, and then half of it came in the form of performance incentive pay. And so yes, here is your raise. But half of it is just like to make sure that you and your wife can pay your rent and whatever else and like get the business going along further, or get your personal business going along further. And the other half is determined by raising the bar and performing better. And then what happens is when you build an environment like that, the employee feels comfortable coming to you like, hey, I need a little bit of support here. I need to buy this product. This system would be good. And so what I do as a founder is I fund whatever they need to make sure that their thing gets better. So for example, as we're filming this right now, we're recording and I'm here with Jake, my videographer, head of creative, all that jazz. He went and bought an iPad today or the other day so that we could see like what we're filming live instead of looking at the tiny thing in the camera. And he bought it with his own money. And I was like, dude, that's a business expense. Like, we're going to pay for that as a business. But the difference is like Jake is an employee that was so bought into the vision that he went and bought it and just like, yeah, I just need this to do my job, and bought it himself. Like, that's the kind of buy-in that you need in an organization. That is the kind of thing that tells me like, dude, this is a foxhole employee. Like, this is the kind of guy that knows like where this thing is going. It's going to fit into their dreams, right? And like that just showed me. And so of course I'm like, dude, just send it to Natalie. We're gonna pay for it. That's not the point. The point was like, that's the kind of like time clock punching employee behavior that is being built based on the culture that I'm building. And am I perfect? No. I'm extremely disorganized. My employees get really mad at me all the time because I like to do things last minute. Like, he's laughing behind the camera because he knows it's true. Like, is it all sunshine and roses? No, it's not. I won't pretend it to be. Like, I have fired tons of employees in the last few years. Tons. I've been stolen from by employees. I'm not sitting up here telling you, I'm so great, listen to me, nothing ever goes wrong. A lot has gone wrong. But the businesses now, compared to the businesses 365 days ago, compared to the businesses 730 days ago, is that math correct? That math's correct. And further along, are a lot better than they were back then. And they continue to be. And that's not because I'm just white knuckle piss and vinegaring everything. That's been gone a long time ago. It is about putting the right systems and the right people in positions. And when you don't turn over leadership positions, the compounding effect of people staying in your business over like years is substantial, because nothing hurts the business more than having to constantly retrain leadership positions, because then you're just like setting yourself back consistently. Like in the Christmas light business now, everybody running the back end has been with the business for over 2 seasons now. Like everybody running the back end. So I don't have to train Natalie how to use the CRM. I don't have to train Natalie how to schedule jobs. I don't have to train Kyle on how to do company cam correctly and build the quotes in Jobber correctly. I don't have to, because they've been with me for so long. Think about the alternative. If I built a business that just sucked and we were turning over everyone year after year after year, every year I would be retraining the same people with training wheels on for like 3 months at a time, 4 months at a time. Mistakes are being made because they're new employees. They're slower, all that jazz. Instead of like baseline competency is here now. And so now the upside is like we can build way cooler stuff because we're already blocking and tackling. And that's the vision. And as I'm filming this now, an employee could quit tomorrow. An employee could go get a new job tomorrow. That's just part of the game. I can't control that. But what I can control is making sure that the vision is communicated over and over again, and that my dreams are big enough for the business that everyone else's dreams can fall into them. If you liked this video and this provided any value for you at all, please click the subscribe button, thumbs up the video, share it with a friend who owns a home service or contracting business. These YouTube videos are completely free, and I love that you guys watch it. If you also want to join the Home Service Accelerator, there's an application link in the comments and then in the description of the video as well. That's where we bring a bunch of home service businesses into our model. We teach them how to run their own Facebook and Instagram ad campaigns. We optimize a lot of their Google business SEO. We dial in a lot of their systems and automations and all this other stuff, get their branding dialed in. If that's something that you want to join the other 500 plus home service entrepreneurs that have gone through it, feel free to apply in the link here. Otherwise, please follow me on X, follow me on Instagram, follow me on YouTube. This content is completely free. I want it to be that way, and I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon.